Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the No ID podcast. This is season 5. I have here a wonderful guest, IFBB Pro, essential worker, fitness guru, the one and only Miss Daphney Carter.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to interview you, and I appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule.
Well, I appreciate yours too. Thank you.
Thank you. So, IFBB Pro, International Female Bodybuilder. Did I get that right?
International Federation of Bodybuilding.
And okay, so you don't mind me asking, how did you get your start? Like, was this something that you started younger, like when you was a teenager, elementary school?
No, not at all. Something that people don't, I guess, either they don't pay attention, because I used to use the hashtag fit over 40 a lot. And it still surprises people, but I am 45 years old. And I actually just started bodybuilding in 2018. So the way that it started was after 2 kids, it was just, one of those things that I want my body back. I want to get back in shape. So I've always been athletic. I've never been shy about lifting weights, but I just ended up taking it more seriously after the birth of my second child, because I knew that I wasn't going to have any more kids. And a local coach here in Miami, Florida, by the name of Marty Feldman, took notice of me on Instagram because I was following his wife, who is also an IFBB Pro Women's Physique competitor. And he was just like, you should, give competing a try. I'm like, no, I don't think so. He's like, why not? I said, it's not something that really interests me. I just like to lift and I like to, exercise and stay fit. And I said, I'm not really looking to compete. He says, well, you should think about it. So the first time I said no, and then he came back a second time. I was like, you know what do I have to lose? Why not? And it wasn't a bucket list thing. It was just like, really, like, let's give it a try. You're already in the gym and you've already been working kind of like on your nutrition. Let's try it out. And so I did, and I have fallen in love with the process. And I've been blessed in the industry as far as, I became pro within a year of competing, and I've just met some fantastic people, and the network has been wonderful and supportive. So, here I am.
Definitely. I also read that you were a registered nurse manager in the COVID unit.
Yes, I am. I am a nurse manager. I have been a registered nurse since 2002. I currently work for a large organization in South Florida, and I am a nurse manager of a cardiac telemetry unit. However, given the recent pandemic with coronavirus, my unit was already serving a population of people with heart and respiratory problems. So we converted my unit to a COVID-19 unit. So we now serve and care a population of patients who are affected by COVID-19.
Definitely. So what is your, because the competitions I see, okay, I can't do it. I'm not saying I can't do it. It's just not me. I'm gonna stay to telling jokes. But how does your regimen and your training process go when you're getting ready for a competition? Do you work out every day? Is it every other day?
It's every day. It's a very structured, planned out regimen that my coach provides me. My coach is Kevin Wilson out of Atlanta, Georgia. He goes by KD with the Muscle on Instagram. He's also an IFBB Pro Classic Physique competitor himself. Very well known in the industry and in what he does, but it's very structured. We always plan the meals and the workouts based on previous feedback from the competitions that I've been in. We concentrate on the areas that need to grow, or my weakest points, so to speak. And but it's every day. And of course, my coach encourages a rest day. That's also thrown into the regimen. And that's a day that I call it an active rest day because I will always get up and do fasting cardio. I may just not train in the evening. But yeah, it's an everyday process, you know, from the moment you wake up to the moment that you go to sleep.
It is. It is. It's repetition. I guess it takes a lot
Hmm.
of discipline. You know what I mean? And
It
focus.
does. Indeed, it does. I mean, because even the days that, you know, as you mentioned, being an essential worker, a registered, you go to work Monday through Friday. Your hours are like a 8:30 to 5:30, sometimes still to 7. And then you have to still train, you know, especially when it's competition season. And so it's a lot of work, it's a lot of dedication, it's a lot of discipline. But for me, it you know, it doesn't feel like work. Because I really do enjoy the process. I also believe it's just really a healthy outlet for me, especially with, you know, my career. So I enjoy it, but there's some days you're exhausted and you don't want to do it. But if you want to bring the best package and want to improve, you're going to put in the time.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Is there certain foods in the diet or drinks that you had to give up that you kind of miss, or is it?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of sacrifices when it comes to food. I mean, and of course it varies depending on the kind of person you are and what you like. I have a sweet tooth. I don't deny that. I've gotten better about it since I've been competing because it's almost like, you know, the longer you compete and eat healthy, your palate seems to change a little bit, or you become a little bit less tolerable of certain foods. But dairy is something that's not included at all in my meal plan when I'm competing. So, like cheeses and milks and yogurts and ice cream, all of that is gone. No sugar, no refined sugar. What else? Um, it's pretty strict. Everything's measured out in ounces and or in grams. The meals are repetitive, so you are eating the same meals every day for weeks at a time to achieve your goals. But yeah, like no sodas. Everything is just water. You know, I have coffee, but you know, non-dairy creamer, sweetened with stevia or Splenda. But yeah, you make some sacrifices, especially if you're like, you know, a sweets person, or if you like your sodas or your juices. But I've never been one. Water's always been really my beverage of choice anyway, whether I'm competing or not. But yeah, you do make some sacrifices when you're competing.
Yeah, yeah. Sacrifice is always great. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know, but I don't eat dairy now. And for all the listeners out there, chocolate chip cookies are the most disgusting cookies in the world. But she might disagree with me.
Ah, oh my gosh. Yeah, we're going to disagree on that.
It was cool. It's cool.
We're going
So,
to disagree on that.
who and what are some of your inspirations for you to become a bodybuilder?
Well, I mentioned my coach's wife, Marty Feldman, his wife, Jeannie Feldman. I started following her as she was a power lifter. Now, again, you know, like I mentioned, she's a women's physique competitor. I started following her and admiring her because I saw a lot of me in her. You know, she was a career woman, a mom in her 40s, and the way that she was able to just, you know, transform her body was just incredible. And I just thought to myself, like, wow, like, not so much that she could do it, I could do it. Wasn't that because, you know, everyone's discipline and dedication is definitely their own and different, but it definitely motivated me, you know, as a mother, as a career woman, and is a woman in her 40s, that I could actually achieve, you know, some of the same goals. As far as the bodybuilding industries, you know, we have our greats. Linda Murray is someone that I admire very, very much. Not only was she a classic and beautiful bodybuilder, I mean, she's still classic and beautiful now, even though she's not competing. And the way that she supports the women in the industry and the appearances that she continues to make, whether it's in person or social media, she just really is created a legacy for herself and, you know, for us to follow as women bodybuilders. So I really do look up to her as well. And she's been influential.
Yeah, I know when I started getting watching it. I used to see I don't know if this is a good example or not, was Yvette Bova,
Mm.
Linda Murphy, Mark well, he was strongman competition. He wasn't bodybuilder. Take that back. Stanley Tukey Williams. I know that's not a good example for a lot of people out there, but he was a bodybuilder in the process of from starting the Bloods and the Crips. So I was watching a little bit of it. And I watched this documentary, like True Life from a bodybuilder, and the things that I saw, I commend you. You know, working out, the grind, the dedication, the motivation, just to get to that point. When it came to, training, getting ready for your first competition, how did that go for you? Like, when did you get your IFBB card? Don't you get a card as well too?
Yes, you get an IFBB Pro card. So as I mentioned, my first competition ever was 2018. I participated in Southern States, which is held locally here in the South Florida area. Training wasn't hard because I really enjoyed just being in the gym. It was something that I was already doing before competing. The challenge comes really for most of us, is just changing the way that you eat. And I don't want to call it dieting, because once you start to understand why you have to change, the way that you eat to build muscle and to grow, it does become a lifestyle change. As I said, like even now going into an improvement season or off season, I may enjoy a couple of things, but I still preferably enjoy eating clean as much as possible than just like, indulging in anything and everything. Because my body doesn't even react to those foods anymore. Like not that I feel miserable, I still enjoy myself, but I just notice a little bit, maybe like sluggish energy or being a little bit more, slow and tired. So I still love to maintain a clean diet, but that, I think, has always been, for most people, the biggest challenge is just kind of flipping that switch to eating a certain way and then going into another direction. And it's not as extreme as people believe that it is. It really isn't. Like, we have to eat to grow. It's just that the food is repetitive. It's the same meal every day. It's 6 meals a day, depending on what type of diet you want, or if you're counting macros or however it works. But I think that's what the challenge is because some people like to have a variety in their food. As bodybuilders, it's just, for breakfast, it's the same, meal 2 is the same, meal 3 is the same, and so on every day. And then, your proteins are always going to be like fish or lean ground turkey or chicken or beef. And, we still cook with salts and stuff until we get closer to show day. But I think that's the hardest part, is just that it does leave out a variety of things that we probably would want to enjoy and have to stick to something that is just not bland, but it's just the same thing every day. So that was the biggest challenge, I think, for me. And then the other part is, you start to question yourself as far as you're good enough, because you are actually putting yourself on stage to be judged by people. And so I think sometimes, if you don't place well or you get critiqued a certain way, it can get the best of you if you are not very confident, or maybe even have an understanding of how the sport works. You have to know that it's subjective. You have to know that there are going to be people who come in bigger than you and more conditioned than you at times, but it doesn't take away from the athlete that you are, the hard work that you put in and your worth. So you have to be mentally strong, not just physically strong, to really get through prepping.
Yeah. Sure. I got a question for you. What is Arm Queen?
So the Arm Queen was a name that was actually given to me by a fellow competitor. His name is Don. He's out of New Jersey. He's a men's physique competitor. And you did ask, when did I go pro? I went pro in 2019 at Team Universe. At the time, it used to be held in New Jersey. And every time a competitor wins, you get to stand on stage with your trophy, and then you hit your favorite pose. My favorite pose, and one that was the most, I guess you could say, popular and got the most talk and attention, was my front double bicep. So that's where you kind of, hit this pose with a leg out. And I've always been known for having huge biceps for a woman. And when I hit that pose for my my winning picture, it got a lot of attention. And this particular friend, he saw the picture online and he sent it to me, and he's just like, "That is a money pose, Daph." And he's like, "You are the arm queen." And so that's how it came to be. And so I started to use the hashtag. I even created like t-shirts and mugs and stuff with the logo on it. And it's actually, the logo is my silhouette from that win. And that's pretty much how it started.
What motivates you on a day-to-day basis to keep going? Like, what is that thing that drives you to get out of bed and continuously train?
The love that I have for it. I really do. I really love what I'm doing, and I love the way that it makes me feel. It's not something that just empowers me physically. It's not a physical strength, because this is not a strongman contest. And we don't get judged on how much we lift and who we're arm wrestling or anything like that. It's definitely aesthetics and an appearance. But for me, it's the discipline. It gives me something outside of everything else that I have to do. And I always tell people, I'm not one of those women that drives a luxury car or carries Louis Vuitton or Gucci on her shoulder. So it's the one luxury that I feel that I could afford myself, and it's something that I do for me. And that's what really drives me to get out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning some days and do my fasting cardio and go train after working a 12-hour day. I just have a passion for it. I love the way that it makes me feel, not just physically, but mentally. It's just a healthy outlet, especially with everything that we're dealing with today. But that's my motivation. And then I'm raising 2 girls, and I want to be a positive example to them. And so I'm always being watched. I tell people, don't ever think that your kids are not paying attention, because they are. And they motivate me because they know too how much it means to me, and they understand my regimen, that the days that I don't want to get up, or the days that I don't want to work out, they're reminding me, "Mom, you gotta go do this." So then I think that being disciplined like that then sets a tone for them to also follow in those same footsteps when they're applying, themselves to anything in life. And that's pretty much what keeps me going too.
Definitely. I've been watching your, I'm not, oh God, this doesn't sound like a creeper, but I've been watching your stories. I've been watching your page. I've been Googling your name, and I was doing my research. This sounds so much like a creeper. Oh God, I'm so sorry if it do.
No, it's okay. My kids do the same thing. Well, they don't follow me on Instagram because I don't allow them. They're young on social media, but my 9-year-old says the same thing. She says, "Mom, I Google your name and you're famous." I'm like, "I'm not famous, but I appreciate it." But no, I don't think that's being a creeper at all. I appreciate the support. I really do.
Yeah, well, you came on my Explore page, and I was like, I got to interview her. Because it's two. It's you and Monique Jones that I follow on the gram. You guys.
Okay. She's women's bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I found her was one of my favorite comedians posted her on his page, and I guess he was joking on her, but I saw nothing but beauty, like raw, rare, like that raw beauty, that rare beauty that you don't see. That confidence spoke out. I'm like, good night. Like, for somebody to get up there and pose and get into the fitness, because health is wealth.
Yes.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
Health is wealth. And I know with the pandemic stuff, which is, a lot of people was getting in fitness or getting out of fitness or put on a bunch of COVID-19 or whatever the case may be. I saw her page, and Then I saw yours. I got to get you on the podcast because I saw the hair journey, season 2.
It's all part of the growth process, that's for sure.
I'm
It
like,
all
but
it all ties in together.
you kind of messed me up. He's like, yeah, fit over 40. I said, 40 pounds? Like, what are you talking about? He was like, no, 45. I'm like, there's no way. But
Yeah, 46 in November.
really,
Yes, sir.
you can call me Rome, please.
Okay.
You can call me Rome or whatever. After me telling you I looked up your name and stuff, I'm like, she probably gonna block my ass out of this.
No.
I'm just messing with you. So, like, what is your message to those that are actually they look up to you? People are gonna look up to you on a consistent basis. You're considered like a Wonder Woman in my eyes.
I appreciate that.
What would be your message to those that want to follow in your footsteps and do your journey? What would be your message to those?
It really is just be true to yourself, and remain humble in the whole process. I have to say that I think sometimes we get a little caught up in appearances. I applaud anyone, men and women alike, who make a conscious decision to get fit, to change their physical appearance, and to want to look and feel better. But what I also say is that don't get caught up in what the physical appearance brings, as far as, certain type of attention. And then with that, people get, let me choose my words carefully, a little too confident, too confident, sometimes a little too boastful. I just say remain humble, in the process, because you were once where other people were. And I say this because I have found myself sometimes in the industry, even for myself, reaching out to certain people who I would say that I admire or look up to or can appreciate their journey, and they not be too friendly, with wanting to provide advice or just to, have a simple conversation. And it's not that it's hurtful. I just think that it could be a little unfair, because we know that we all started, somewhere. And it's not like we were all built into these or born into these bodies and these appearances. So really for me, it's just like, yes, absolutely. Make a conscious decision to be fit and to be healthy. Make sure that when you do it, it's all for the right reasons. And just remember that, you want to pay things forward. So just remember to be kind and humble when people are approaching you and wanting to, kind of pick your brain over about how they could get started. And that for me is important. Because again, like I said, I want to be an example, not just to my children, but as you mentioned, anyone who's paying attention and watching. I always want my messages and my attitude to be one that's positive. And, and as many of us, we want to leave some type of legacy behind. So I just want people to remember me in such a way that when they think about anything that I've said or done, that it was just, in kindness and with love and appreciation. And I just want people to be able to carry that forward.
Definitely. Now, to piggyback off of what you said that some people get a little too boisterous, or I guess because of the image that you portray. You think you don't have to answer. I think a lot of men are intimidated by the fact that you have the physique, because I think it's a beautiful thing when you see a woman.
No, I haven't found that at all. The followers that I have been very supportive. I've had a couple of people be ugly. I've had a couple of people say that, oh, muscles on women are ugly or whatever. To each his own. I don't do what I do for other people's approval. Certainly not. And I don't do it to please anyone. This is something that makes me happy. And if my circle, which includes my children and, my significant other, my family, are happy with who I am and what I'm doing and continue to support me, that matters the most. Everyone's going to have an opinion. And it may not be a favorable one, and that's okay. But no, I've not found many people that surround me or that follows me be, especially men, be intimidated. They've been quite complimentary. There's some that are a little different, as far as like they have their fetishes, and that's okay and that's respected. I don't entertain any, if not all of them. But no, I haven't really found anyone to be, not a lot of people, I should say, disrespectful. I could probably really, since competing or since becoming a bodybuilder in 2018, count on one hand that many people who have probably been a little disrespectful because of the fact that I'm a woman with muscle. But I've been blessed not to encounter a lot of ugly situations.
You won't. I think a lot of times when like people that slide into the DMs be on some weird shit, I'm probably just getting this off my chest because I just got a message to join some nasty stuff. I don't even want to mention it up here because I don't know who's gonna listen to it. But I think like what you're doing is beautiful. You're a very beautiful, attractive woman.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing your work, seeing more of you, doing and chasing your goals. I would say dreams, but dreams are something you just snap up and wake out of. You actually accomplish something that a lot of people don't have the fortitude to do, to get on the stage and do what you're doing and go through that discipline of the training and the eating, the discipline eating. I'm not gonna say dieting, that you're doing. Now I do ask this question. I ask this question to every guest. I know your top 5 comedians, dead or alive, in any order with a starting 6 men.
Okay. Considering my age and what I grew up with, Fred Sanford. Okay. I used to watch his show, Sanford and Son, like religiously. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, and my last one, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of between someone more recent that I've seen on stage, Mike Epps. I saw him live, and he was really funny.
Girl, about to marry you. That's a strong ass list. Oh my God. Good night. Well, for mine, I always change. Mine is number 1 is gonna be Michael Kaya because that man has done so much for me as far as my stand-up career. Number 2 is going to be Moms Mabley. Number 3, Richard Pryor. Number 4, Jerry Seinfeld. Number 5, Ali Sadiq, and number 6 is going to be Kevin Hart.
Okay. Yeah, Kevin Hart's good. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to follow you and see your journey, how can they follow you? Where can they follow you at?
Yes, so I have, of course, my Instagram page, which is DEvolution04_IFBB And I also have a fitness and nutrition by DEvolution on Facebook.
If anybody wants to follow the podcast, there's No ID Podcast on Instagram. There's No ID Podcast. Type it into the search bar on YouTube. You can find us that way too. Find me that way too. Click the link in the bio. Now, because of the crazy messages that I've gotten and these people constantly reaching out, unfortunately I had to change my name for the millionth time. But make sure you follow me at Romy Fiasco. Obviously, it's a play on my favorite rapper, Lupe Fiasco, obviously.
Right.
You can follow that on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and support what Daphney's doing, what I'm doing. The whole IFBB movement, make sure you do that. Make sure you cop her merch. Click her link in her bio. I'm plugging you in right now.
Thank you.
I'm pulling it up. Make sure you click the link in the bio for her. It takes to everything: Asian Pharma, the nutrition, Competitors Cookie Company, Crystal Gypsy Bikinis, Hell Snatch, Fit Fashion Wear.
My sponsors, so grateful to them.
Amazon influencer, and make sure you cop that merch for the Arm Queen apparel and accessories. By all means, please support her and what she's doing. Make sure you follow and be respectful in her DMs and not ask her for no fetishes. By all means, leave that alone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daphney. I appreciate you.
No, thank you. I appreciate your time and the support. Thank you so much.
Definitely. I'm going to send you my stand-up since you didn't put me on your list, but I got you.
I got you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.